Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are excited to have our energy healer, our Reiki practitioner, and owner of Goods Holistic Healing joining us. It's Keith Good once again to talk more about all of his services and all that he practices out of Billings, Montana, but he's helping people this way via Zoom, like we're doing here today with crystal healing, chakra healing, meditation. And as a crystal Reiki master and a Reiki master, there's so much that goes into his work, and he's back to talk more about all of the holistic healing. GoodsHolisticHealing.com is the website. What did you want to share for everyone today?
Well, I want to talk a little bit about spiritual seeking. Because spiritual seeking oftentimes has a bad name. People think that it's something that it isn't. And no matter what your faith is, you can spiritual seek inside your faith. You can go outside your faith. Basically, all it is having questions and seeking out the answers.
Ooh.
And seeking those answers out without having to necessarily be told how to believe. We have a common thread in this time of our living, that we like to be told what to believe. We like to be told what to do. We don't think for ourselves. And so as energies seem to be changing right now, people are starting to question those things. So the very first question that I always want to ask everybody when I do some spiritual mentoring to help them along their spiritual seeking path is, are you a soul? Are you a body with a soul? Or are you a body with a spirit?
Yeah.
That's the question. And how would you answer that, Joe?
Oh, gosh, I'm a body with a soul. With the spirit?
A body with a spirit.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm both.
Either one.
I don't know.
Yeah. Spirit and soul are interchangeable. So are you a body with a spirit?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a body with a spirit. Yeah.
You sure?
No, I'm not. Now I'm getting nervous. Should I be both? Can I be both?
You should be neither one.
Oh, no. I should just be a spirit. Just a soul?
The spirit with a body.
Oh, it's reversed. I get it. Okay, I never thought of it that way. You're right.
Well, and that's I forget who made that quote. You're not a spirit, you're not a body with a soul, is what he said. But soul and spirit are almost interchangeable. He said, you're not a body with a soul, you're a soul with a body. So that begs the first question of spiritual seeking. At least for me, it does. And that is, how many other things in this lifetime do we look at backwards?
A lot, I would assume.
Well, it's for each person to determine and decide. What are they looking at backwards? Why are we looking at it only in one perspective? You know, a spiritual seeker starts seeking when they start questioning something about their faith, about their belief system, about their surroundings in a spiritual manner. So if you understand that we're spirit first, and the body is what expires as part of the earth. It's what expires, but the spirit never does. So the spirit had to be first, so you have to be a spirit with a body. So because the body is born and the body dies, but the spirit never is born or dies. It's always there. So when people start questioning what's going on, people start questioning the validity of all the theories of science that can't be proven. When people question the validity of their faith, when people question the validity of what's going on around them, meaning the atmosphere, the trees, the shrubbery, the animals, all this, and how they connect or don't connect or interconnect or whatever, that's when you start your path to spiritual seeking. And so the whole thing in a nutshell is to question everything. Once you start questioning everything, then you can look into what the truths are. And it's not the truth of anybody but yourself. It's what you want to find for your truth. And you'll find things that coincide with your faith. And you'll find things that coincide with other people's ideas. So the idea is to take the time, which is again against this world's timeline right now, where we don't take the time to do anything but exist. We don't take the time to study. We don't take the time to ask questions. We don't take the time to watch documentaries. We don't take the time to look at other angles or other perceptions or any other way of other than what we've been taught. And it's because we run such a fast life. You know, years ago, back in the 60s, they talked about the fast lane in the 60s and 70s.
Life in the fast
And
lane.
yeah, exactly. And the fast lane hasn't stopped. We think it may have, but you go to McDonald's for fast food. You go to the doctor for a fast painkiller or a fast cure. You go everywhere to get something done now. And so therefore we are programmed not to look at the slow, steady path. And any doctor will tell you that if you truly want to lose weight, let's just say, it takes time. You can't get a pill to lose weight. Just as you can't go to the gym, as I've mentioned in the past, and get a six-pack in a day. Anything worth its weight is going to take time. So if you're trying to increase your spirituality, if you're trying to be a spiritual seeker, it takes time. You don't get enlightened in a day. You know, we live in a dualistic world where everything is opposite. We live in a world of opposites. You have pleasure and pain, right and left, right and wrong, on and on and on. You know, you have we live in a dualistic situation, and what many people, I won't say everybody, because everybody has their own path, and we have to understand that. That's one of the first lessons of spiritual seeking is you don't compare yourself to anyone else, because your path is your path. We are trying to become one with the creator, one with spirit,
Okay.
or balanced. Okay, so balancing is balancing the opposites where there are no opposites. That's what a lot of people think that we're after. That becomes the enlightenment, where you don't judge good or bad. You don't judge or good anything. You don't judge anything. You just accept that that's the way it's supposed to be. And whatever the outcome is the right way for the universe to have created this to come about. Now, I'm not there. I'm not enlightened, and I've been doing this for years. But it's fun. It's 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 empowering to become more spiritually aware. You know, the spiritual awareness in and of itself is well worth the seeking that there is, because you have a better understanding of the universe in general. You know, and as we spoke one other time, you mentioned about, we talked a little bit about other life forms in the universe, and that's part of the some of this is acceptance. You know, when I pray at night to spirit, I don't name higher power, anything special. I just call it spirit. When I pray for 6 things. I pray for awareness. I pray for acceptance. I pray for guidance, humility, clarity, and understanding. And when I say understanding, I'm talking about true understanding or knowing inside my heart. And those are what I ask for myself after I thank the universe, the spirit, for helping me become who I am and letting me do what I want to do. And it's because that's what we're here for, in my opinion. We are here to upgrade our spirit, to bring ourselves up in vibration. That's why I said in a past episode here that my true job is to help raise the consciousness of the world. And the way we raise that consciousness is to become spiritual seekers and have. Now, that doesn't mean that you can do it. You could do it all on your own if you were quite adept at these things and born this way. But chances are most of us aren't. So we need some kind of guidance. And when we pray for guidance, it doesn't have to be guidance from the spirit world. Sometimes the spirit world uses other humans to guide us. Now, that doesn't mean that a person is going to preach and teach what they know as your truth. That means they're going to a true spiritual mentor, spiritual advisor, spiritual guide, however you want to put it. A true one will guide you to find your own truth, not to try and preach their truth on you. And that becomes significant because we have to do our own research. We have to find out what is the right path for us. What is the right belief system? What is the right knowings? What are the right way of going about this incarnation? So that becomes very important in my opinion, and when I say question everything, you can question me. You don't have to even take my word for anything. You can start questioning me and looking things up. But until you do, you're not really truly seeking. Until you start questioning things, you're not seeking. And you're still not seeking if you just question them and say, well, that's just the way it is. And you're not really looking for the answers. There are people out there, or used to be out there, such as Jesus and Buddha, St. Francis of Assisi, Dalai Lama, that have all preached the same thing with different words. One teaches, Hindus teach to find the Atman, the God within. Buddha taught to find enlightenment. Jesus taught to find the truth. You see how this all works? They're different words for the same exact thing. And that's one of the things that we have to determine while we're seeking is what are the common threads in all this stuff. And that's probably where the truth is. All this other stuff out here is probably just man-made stuff to help us move through that, and sometimes to help deter us from finding our own truth. But the common threads in all the books and all the passages, all the documentaries, those common threads are more than likely, in my opinion, the truth. And keep in mind that everything we have what we call author bias.
Yes.
Of course, for those who don't know, an author bias would be them inflecting their own belief system on the peripheries of the truth. And then you go to another book that's written by someone else, and they'll have their own author bias, but the truth will still be in the middle. It'll still be right there in the middle, where the two agree is where the truths are, not the peripheries where the where in the peripheries where their belief system is. Even Edgar Casey, who I spoke briefly about in the past, who was considered the sleeping prophet, when he read the Akashic records, he had a bias. because of his belief system. And you can, if you know his belief system, you can see it in there as you go through some of his readings. And that's fine, as long as you're aware of it. Again, we pray for awareness. So as long as you're aware of these things, it helps you to become more attuned to the commonalities between all these things. So spiritual seeking, like I say, is not done in a day.
Of course not. Perfect. And you said there's 6 things that you pray for at night, right?
Right. And I mentioned them.
Yeah, you taught me that before. All right. What else is on tap for today with spirituality did you want to discuss with everyone?
Well, I think that as we go through this, we have to understand that because of the programming and the conditioning that we've been given through our entire lives, it becomes very difficult to take this spiritual seeking path. Part of that's because we try to keep up with what society expects of us. We're afraid to venture out. We're afraid to walk our truth. We're afraid to see what the truth is because it may not agree with our family, with our societal pressures, with our neighborhoods, whatever. And we're afraid to. So there's a lot of fear involved in spiritual seeking, or at least putting it out there for people to see. And that's why I say that spiritual seeking becomes an alone path in many ways until because nobody interprets two things the same way. So nobody is ever going to understand you in the exact same way that they understand themselves. So with us each being an aspect of or a little piece of the sand of the beach of the whole, we have to be individual, but yet we make up the whole. So with that said, that means that each one of us has our own path. Each one of us has our own vibration. Each one of us has our own understanding. Each one of us has all these different pieces that makes us an individual, but yet the whole is not there without all these pieces. So we are all on an alone path of sorts, but we're still not necessarily alone. And because of that alone path, it can make it very difficult for us to come out and voice our
How we really feel at
understanding.
times. Yeah.
Pardon me, I didn't hear what you said.
No, and it makes it difficult to voice how we really feel sometimes. It could be intimidating in a sense.
Yes, and when we realize that we are, how do I want to put this? When we realize that we are eternal in spirit, it begs the question, why? Why do we worry about the intimidation, the humiliation, and so forth? It doesn't mean it's going to make it any easier to deal with, but it brings every question that we have brings up another question. And that's what becomes so interesting about being a spiritual seeker is that you read one thing and then all of a sudden, well, what does this mean? How does that work? And when a person first starts spiritually seeking, it becomes very confusing and confounding to that person as a general rule, because they can't put it all together.
Yeah.
What do ETs have to do with megaliths, and what do megaliths have to do with spirituality, and what do all these all these physical things that we see or hear about, what do all these spiritual things that we see, how does it all fit together? And it becomes very confusing. And I can only say through experience that don't stop. It all comes together at some point. It all comes together at some point. people will start noticing things as they're going through their spiritual seeking that are very, very, they won't notice them right away. And we usually, as is always said, that hindsight is 20/20. We see things after the fact. We don't see things as it's happening. So you can see things as simple as you can look back and say, oh, I changed my diet without even realizing that your diet was changed. Or I changed my actions to become more aware or whatever, you know. Now people that change their diet without being aware is because they're going to a higher vibrational diet. And that's what most of these changes become, is a higher vibrational system. And that's why we don't see them at the time. They're very subtle. But as you look back on them and see them, then you can start asking, why did that happen? And start looking into what resonates with you as far as how these things work and how these things happen. The subtle changes that are going on, and there are some not so subtle changes that are going on in this world today, are very significant to the spiritual aspect of the earth. Because let's understand that when you're driving down the road and you look over the car beside you and you see a person, and no matter what you look at that, how you look at that person, you smile and they smile back. That's your spirit talking to their spirit. That's why that reaction happened.
I love that. Oh, I love that feeling. I do that a lot. And you just feel something so warm from the person. Most times, sometimes you feel coldness, but the spirit to spirit, right? But I love when I get
Right.
that warm smile back and it's like, wow, good person. Do I know him? Maybe I have in the past.
Maybe. And maybe you just are communicating right now saying what the Buddhists would say would be saying namaste. My spirit acknowledges your spirit.
Yep, namaste. Like a yoga in yoga.
So there is the point that I'm making is that the vibrations, like attracts like. So if you have whatever your vibration is, whether it's low vibrational or higher vibrational or middle vibrational, that's what you're attracting back. You're attracting the same vibration back that you put out. And so if you're a higher vibration, you're going to attract the higher people, and they're the ones that are probably going to smile at you. If you are lower vibrational and you do gestures to them or something, they're going to do the same thing back because you're attracting exactly what you put out. And this has to do with how your vibration and how much you fed your spirit, how much you have tried to increase your spiritual vibration. Keep in mind, we only when we bring in these vibrations, we are putting out the vibration, and therefore if I'm putting a vibration out to you and you're putting a vibration out to someone else, and on and on and on, that's how we raise the consciousness of the world. That's why I say we want to raise the consciousness. That's why I try to raise the consciousness of the world, do my part to help raise the group consciousness. So, looks like we're out of time here almost, huh?
Another 2 minutes. Go for it, Keith.
2 minutes. Well, so I say the first thing we want to do is understand that you are a spirit with a body and that you need to question everything. In good holistic healing, I mentor it. I don't tell you what to believe. I try to mentor you to help you guide you mostly as to where to find answers to your questions, instigate new questions, and we want to let you do the work. Don't be afraid of doing the work. Take the time to do the work, make the time to do the work, and become as spiritually fit as a person can be in this lifetime. That's the goal. You can reach me at goodsholistichealing.com, info@goodsholistichealing.com, and at 406-272-6006. Keep in mind that we do have a 1-hour free consultation if you sign up for it.
That's huge. Guys, take advantage of that. Reach out to Keith Good. Thank you again today. More on the talk of spirituality and all that Good Holistic Services can help deliver right to you. right here like this. Give them a call, free hour. That's pretty impressive, and we commend you on that. That's very generous. And thank you again, Keith, for enlightening us one more time today. And I hope we do the same again next week.
We will.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a great
Everybody
day,
have a
Keith.
great time. You too.
Bye-bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.